Okay, this is Mike Wigginton again at Site 2. And again, we're going to look at the site card, focus on that first. Calcareous below 40 inches, and this is an ag site. We said to judge the parent material between 25 and 36 inches. That's about 25 down to 36 in this area in here. This is not a flat landform. It doesn't have weak soil development. Okay, so let's go on to the properties. In this hole, from the lower portion of the profile is pretty obviously glacial till. You see rock fragments, unlike in the shallower area is windblown less, and so there's no rock fragments to speak of, but we have rock fragments in the lower part, so glacial till on this one. On the slope we had about 9%, so we're into the 7-12% range, which makes it an upland hill slope. Again, as I mentioned, the surface color is brown. On this one, we have, in some portions, we have as little as 5 inches of topsoil. It kind of varies in here, but we put this one as moderately eroded at this site. Again, even though there's some erosion, anything that is darker colored, which is obviously the surface texture, we didn't find any of that that's going to be anything other than silt loam, so that's going to be moderate, medium on the surface for the texture. The subsoil, we're going to be dealing with silty clay loams and then clay loams down below, so that's going to be moderately clay. And on this one, it's kind of out of the normal, you might say, but we'll see grays coming in before 18 inches, which is going to put it into a somewhat poorly drained. Typically on a site like this with this kind of slope, we wouldn't expect that, but by your rules and the grays that are obviously coming in at shallower depth, then that's going to be a somewhat poorly drained soil. And this one, we're not going to have a limiting layer within 40 inches. We checked this one out. We didn't have brittleness, anything like that, although sometimes in these we find fragipans.
All right.
Okay, so we look up here at the bench, and typically if you have a good fragipan, you'll have some grays showing up. There'll be some reds as well. You can see some of that on this, but there's not really good polygons that we're looking for, and we just didn't have the brittleness and that kind of thing to classify it as a good fragipan. So on this one, there's not going to be a limiting layer within 40 inches. So that should wrap it up for site number 2.